Welcome to Starlight Sci-Fi, where the extraordinary becomes reality. Prepare to journey into the cosmos and explore the untold stories of humanity's impact on the stars. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ignite the stars of your imagination. It wasn't a war. It wasn't a disaster. When Earth went silent, the galaxy trembled, and what followed changed the balance of power forever. In the vast tapestry of the galaxy, Earth was a curious thread. Humanity's rise from a backwater planet to a member of the Galactic Council was as improbable as it was extraordinary. Unlike the other species, whose ascensions were measured and predictable, humanity's arrival on the galactic stage was a story of wild leaps and boundless ingenuity. The Galactic Council first noticed Earth when its radio signals, crude but insistent, began to leak into the cosmic void. Soon after, humanity erupted onto the interstellar scene, armed with makeshift technology, fierce determination, and an unmatched ability to adapt. But for all their progress, humans were still considered outliers, an unpredictable anomaly. Their society thrived on risk, constantly seeking to push the boundaries of knowledge and capability. It was said that humanity had two defining traits: an unyielding thirst for exploration and a stubborn refusal to back down, even in the face of overwhelming odds. For many in the Council, this combination made humanity as inspiring as it was unsettling. Despite their technological inferiority to other species, humans had an uncanny knack for turning their disadvantages into strengths. Where others relied on millennia of accumulated wisdom, humans innovated in real time, crafting solutions no one else could have imagined. They forged alliances quickly, traded voraciously, and studied the galaxy with an intensity that bordered on obsession. Their sheer audacity left the Council equal parts impressed and wary. Then, one day, humanity disappeared. It wasn't gradual. It wasn't subtle. One moment, Earth's radio waves, data streams, and bustling trade routes filled the galactic ether. The next, there was silence. Total, unbroken silence. Earth's planet-wide information network, once a chaotic symphony of noise, went dark. Every signal from Earth, be it a routine transmission or a stray fragment of entertainment media, ceased. At first, the Council assumed it was a technical failure, a glitch in Earth's notoriously volatile communication systems. Probes were sent to investigate, but as reports trickled back, the truth became impossible to ignore. Earth wasn't just silent, it was eerily still. Trade ships bound for Earth's orbit found themselves circling an unresponsive planet. Spaceports that had once buzzed with activity now stood empty. Earth's colonies on Mars and Europa, usually brimming with chatter, were also quiet. It wasn't just Earth, humanity's entire presence in the galaxy had vanished. The silence was more than unsettling, it was unnatural. Humanity had never been quiet. Their planet was a beacon of constant activity, a relentless broadcaster of ideas, music, and stories. For Earth to go silent was like a star suddenly ceasing to shine. The Council scrambled to make sense of it. They scoured the galaxy for answers but found none. As the days turned to weeks, unease spread through the Council chambers. What could silence an entire species overnight? No signs of war or destruction appeared in Earth's orbit. Their planet and its colonies seemed untouched, as if humanity had simply stepped out, leaving everything behind. The question lingered in the minds of every Council member. Was this humanity's end or their next move? The Galactic Council was a bastion of order in an otherwise chaotic galaxy. Composed of representatives from hundreds of species, it existed to mediate disputes, foster cooperation, and maintain stability across the stars. For centuries, it had been the ultimate authority, guiding civilizations through crises and ensuring no one species disrupted the delicate balance of power. But as the silence from Earth stretched on, the Council found itself facing a dilemma unlike any it had encountered before. At first, the Council treated Earth's disappearance from the galactic network as a technical issue, an anomaly that would resolve itself with time. Proposals were floated to send diplomatic envoys, repair crews, and investigative teams. But as weeks turned into months with no response from Earth or its colonies, the situation grew more ominous. This was not a technical failure. It was something far more deliberate. Theories began to circulate. Some council members believed humanity had fallen victim to internal conflict. Their species had always been volatile, prone to infighting and territorial disputes. Perhaps their own aggression had finally consumed them. Others speculated that an external force, an invasion or natural disaster, had wiped them out. The absence of visible destruction, however, made this unlikely. More unsettling was the third possibility, that humanity had chosen silence. No species had ever willingly isolated itself from the galaxy. Membership in the council was seen as a privilege, a sign of progress and unity. To withdraw would be a rejection of everything the council stood for. If humanity had done this, it would not only be unprecedented, it would be a declaration of defiance. The council convened in an emergency session to address the growing uncertainty. For days, representatives debated what course of action to take. Theories turned into accusations. Some species, particularly those who had clashed with humanity in trade disputes or border skirmishes, argued that the silence was a trick. They claimed humanity was hiding, preparing some new technology or strategy to assert dominance. Others dismissed this as paranoia, urging caution and patience. But patience was running thin. Humanity's absence was creating ripples across the galaxy. Trade routes once dominated by human merchants were now barren, throwing entire economies into disarray. Research collaborations involving human scientists ground to a halt. And perhaps most alarmingly, the Council's military fleets had been weakened by humanity's sudden withdrawal, as many depended on human ingenuity to maintain their edge. Probes were dispatched to Earth and its colonies to gather information. The first probe reached Mars, only to find its cities abandoned. Europa's icy research stations were similarly desolate. The asteroid belt, once bustling with mining operations, was silent. The Council's unease grew with every report. When a probe finally reached Earth, the findings were equally troubling. The planet itself appeared intact, its cities untouched, its environment stable. But there were no people, no signs of life. It was as if humanity had simply vanished, leaving behind a perfectly preserved world. As the Council reviewed the probe's data, one troubling question loomed larger than all the others. Was humanity truly gone, or were they hiding? And if they were hiding, what were they hiding from? When the first probe entered Earth's atmosphere, the Galactic Council held its collective breath. For weeks, probes had scoured humanity's colonies and outposts, finding nothing but silence and stillness. Now, the heart of the mystery lay before them. Earth, the birthplace of humanity, awaited their scrutiny. What they found was more unsettling than they could have imagined. The probe descended over North America, an area once teeming with human activity. It transmitted live feeds of sprawling cities beneath its path, cities that appeared untouched by conflict or disaster. Skyscrapers reached toward the clouds, their windows glinting in the sunlight. Roads crisscrossed the land in intricate networks, yet no vehicles moved along them. Parks and gardens flourished, as if humanity had simply stepped away, leaving nature to reclaim its place. But the silence was pervasive. The probe's sensors detected no biological activity beyond small animals and plant life. Cities that once housed millions were now empty. The airwaves, which had once buzzed with human chatter, carried only static. It was as if Earth had been paused, frozen in time. As the probe ventured further, it encountered more peculiarities. Power grids remained active, yet no energy was being consumed. Massive communication hubs still hummed faintly with residual power, yet no signals were being transmitted. The planet's surface was eerily pristine, with no signs of war, environmental collapse, or any catastrophe that could explain humanity's absence. Then the probe detected something strange. Deep beneath the planet's surface, it picked up a faint energy signature, a rhythmic pulse emanating from Earth's core. The energy readings were unlike anything seen before, defying conventional understanding of planetary geology. It was as if the planet itself had become a conduit for something greater, something artificial. The probe adjusted its sensors, attempting to isolate and analyze the pulse. The data it sent back was incomprehensible. The energy signature was layered, complex, and seemed to carry a pattern that hinted at deliberate design. This wasn't the random output of a natural phenomenon. It was a signal. Before the Council could analyze the findings, the probe's transmission abruptly cut off. Its last image was a startling one, an intricate symbol glowing faintly on the surface of a mountain range. Galactic historians quickly identified the glyph as an ancient human symbol. Its meaning was clear: endurance. The Council was stunned. Humanity had always been a species that adapted and persevered, but what did this symbol mean in this context? Was it a message to those who found it? A warning? A declaration of their survival? Another probe was sent, this time equipped with advanced shielding and more sophisticated scanning equipment. It didn't last long. As it neared Earth's surface, it too ceased transmitting. But before its signal was lost, it detected another burst of energy from the planet's core, stronger this time, as if Earth was responding to the intrusion. The Council was left with more questions than answers. Earth was no longer just a silent planet, it was an enigma, shrouded in layers of mystery. What was the source of the energy? Why had humanity vanished so suddenly, leaving their world intact? And perhaps most chilling of all, was Earth merely silent? Or was it waiting? The silence of Earth and the disappearance of humanity had unsettled the Galactic Council, but the energy readings from the planet's core brought a new layer of urgency. Earth was no longer a dormant mystery, it was active, alive in a way no planet should be. The rhythmic pulses detected by the probes grew stronger, their frequencies spreading across space in subtle waves. At first, these waves seemed harmless, an anomaly to be studied. But as more probes approached Earth, the waves became something else entirely: a warning. The first clear indication came from the Council's second probe, which had been equipped with enhanced shielding and advanced sensors. As it neared Earth's surface, the rhythmic energy emanating from the planet intensified. The probe managed to capture fragments of data before its systems were abruptly overwhelmed. It wasn't a malfunction. The probe had been deliberately shut down. The energy pulse from Earth seemed to seek out and disrupt foreign technology, as if the planet itself was defending its secrets. The final transmission from the probe contained an image, a swirling, fractal-like pattern etched into the surface of the Pacific Ocean. This was no ordinary natural phenomenon. It was precise, geometric, and unmistakably artificial. Galactic historians analyzed the image and found it eerily similar to ancient human designs associated with resilience and fortification. The pattern seemed to convey a message: leave. The Council hesitated. The idea of a planet actively rejecting their investigation was unprecedented. Earth was behaving as if it were sentient, or at the very least controlled by something far beyond the Council's understanding. Despite the warning, they decided to send a small, unmanned vessel to observe from a distance, remaining in orbit. What happened next changed everything. The vessel, equipped with long-range sensors, detected a sudden spike in the planet's energy output. The rhythmic pulse transformed into a focused wave, and before the crew monitoring the vessel could react, the wave shot outward, reaching the ship stationed near the Kuiper Belt. In an instant, the ship's systems were disabled. Its power core destabilized, and the ship exploded in a silent burst of light. Its final transmission, sent seconds before its destruction, contained a single word: leave. Panic rippled through the Council chambers. For all their technological superiority, no species in the galaxy had ever displayed the kind of controlled, precise power Earth had just unleashed. This was not the chaotic destruction of war. It was a calculated response, designed to incapacitate without provoking further aggression. Theories swirled. Some Council members believed humanity had created a planetary defense system, a failsafe triggered by their absence. Others argued that Earth itself had been weaponized, its core transformed into a technological anomaly capable of targeting threats. But none of these explanations accounted for the most disturbing question of all: if humanity had built this defense, where had they gone? The energy waves from Earth continued, now more frequent and intense, spreading across star systems like an unspoken declaration. The Council realized that Earth was no longer a planet to be studied or approached. It was a fortress, guarding a secret that no one dared uncover. The warning was clear. Earth's silence was not an invitation to probe its mysteries. It was a command to stay away. And whatever humanity had become, it was something far beyond the comprehension of the galaxy. As the Galactic Council grappled with Earth's silence and its increasingly aggressive warnings, a new question began to haunt its members. Who exactly had humanity been? For all their unpredictable nature and rapid rise, humanity's absence had left a void in the galaxy. Trade routes were abandoned, and research initiatives slowed to a crawl without human collaboration. Even the cultures of other species felt their absence. Humanity's boundless creativity, their art, music, and ideas, had rippled across the stars in ways few had fully appreciated until it was gone. The Council tasked its historians and archivists with unearthing every detail of humanity's contributions to galactic civilization. What they found was a tapestry of contradictions. Humanity had been bold explorers, venturing into dangerous regions of space long before they possessed the technology to do so safely. They had pushed the boundaries of science, creating breakthroughs that benefited not only themselves but countless other species. Yet they had also been reckless, dabbling in technologies others deemed too dangerous, challenging the galaxy's norms without hesitation. Their curiosity had always been their defining trait. When other species looked at a phenomenon and sought to understand it within established frameworks, humans tore those frameworks apart. They asked questions no one else thought to ask, often finding answers in the chaos. This trait made them formidable allies but also unpredictable competitors. The Council's records were filled with stories of humanity's unconventional methods. There were accounts of humans surviving hostile environments that should have been lethal, jury-rigging solutions to problems that stumped more advanced species, and creating alliances with unlikely partners. They were innovators, not just in technology but in diplomacy, warfare, and survival itself. But there was a darker side to their legacy. Humanity had always been drawn to power, political, scientific, and technological. They had an insatiable drive to push beyond limits, to test boundaries. They had created weapons capable of reshaping planets, experimented with artificial intelligences that could surpass biological minds, and dabbled in genetic modifications that some species deemed unnatural. The more the Council studied humanity's past, the more they realized how dangerous their absence could be. If humanity had vanished because of some self-inflicted catastrophe, the galaxy might be safe from their recklessness. But if they had left by choice, retreating to some unknown place, the implications were far more troubling. What could they have discovered or created that justified such a drastic step? The energy readings from Earth hinted at answers, but no one dared approach the planet again. The rhythmic pulses emanating from its core carried a pattern that defied interpretation. Some believed it was a form of communication, while others feared it was a weapon. Regardless, the message was clear. Humanity had not simply disappeared. They had left something behind. The symbol of endurance found etched across Earth's surface became a point of obsession for the Council. It was more than a word, it was a statement, a promise that humanity had endured and perhaps transcended. What frightened the Council most was the possibility that humanity had not vanished but ascended to something beyond the galaxy's comprehension. Humanity's legacy, it seemed, was not confined to the past. It was alive, pulsing in the heart of Earth, sending waves through the cosmos. The Council began to realize that humanity had not left the galaxy behind, they had left their mark on it, a silent reminder of their ingenuity, resilience, and unpredictability. And as the galaxy struggled to adapt to a world without humans, one thought lingered in every corner of the Council's chambers. What had humanity become? As the energy waves from Earth intensified, rippling across the galaxy like an unspoken proclamation, the Galactic Council found itself at a crossroads. The warnings had been clear: Earth was not to be approached, yet the planet's silence, coupled with its cryptic transmissions, felt like an unanswered question, gnawing at the minds of every species. The Council had never faced anything like this before, a world that seemed to defy explanation, pulsating with purpose yet shrouded in impenetrable mystery. The energy emanating from Earth was unlike anything seen in the known galaxy. It wasn't destructive, nor did it seem to pose an immediate threat, but its influence was undeniable. The waves passed through systems, subtly altering the behavior of technology and even biological organisms. Starships reported malfunctions, as if the energy interfered with their most basic functions. Entire ecosystems on distant planets began to change in subtle, inexplicable ways. It was as if Earth's pulse was rewriting the rules of the galaxy, one faint ripple at a time. Scientists across the galaxy worked tirelessly to decode the patterns. The energy was rhythmic, almost musical, with layered frequencies that suggested deliberate design. Some argued it was a message, a form of communication humanity had left behind. Others feared it was a warning system, designed to repel intruders or prevent interference with Earth's transformation. Theories ranged from the plausible to the fantastical, but none could deny the intelligence behind the signal. One particularly alarming discovery came from a team of xenobiologists studying the energy's impact on living organisms. They found that the pulse had a strange, unifying effect. It synchronized biological rhythms, from the heartbeat of a mammalian creature to the cellular division of microscopic life. Plants, animals, and even bacteria seemed to align with the pulse's frequencies. The implications were staggering. Whatever humanity had created, it was affecting life itself at a fundamental level. The Council began to suspect that Earth's transformation was not an accident. The symbol of endurance, found etched into Earth's surface and its energy waves, seemed to reinforce this notion. Humanity had always been a species that adapted and survived, no matter the odds. What if they had found a way to ensure their survival not as individuals, but as a unified force? What if the energy waves were more than a warning? What if they were humanity's next step? This possibility terrified the Council. If humanity had found a way to transcend their physical forms, becoming a kind of energy-based existence, it would explain their sudden disappearance. It would also mean that humanity had achieved a level of technological and biological integration no other species had even dreamed of. Such a leap would place them beyond the Council's reach, beyond even their comprehension. And yet the pulse continued to spread. Galactic sensors detected its faint echoes on the edge of the galaxy, as if it were searching, expanding. The energy wasn't confined to Earth, it was reaching outward, touching every corner of the stars. Some began to wonder if this was the true purpose of the pulse, not to defend Earth, but to reshape the galaxy. The Council debated endlessly, torn between fear and curiosity. Should they attempt to intervene, risking the wrath of whatever humanity had become? Or should they stay away, respecting the warnings and leaving Earth to its enigmatic evolution? The stakes were higher than ever. Humanity's silence wasn't just an absence, it was a transformation, one that could change the fabric of the galaxy itself. For the first time in millennia, the Council faced the unknown, and as the pulse grew stronger, spreading its influence with every passing moment, one thing became clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. Whatever humanity had become, their story was far from over. The silence of Earth was not an ending, it was the beginning of something far greater. The galaxy braced itself for the unknown as Earth's pulse spread further, touching distant systems and ancient worlds that had remained unchanged for eons. The Galactic Council had retreated into cautious silence, abandoning any plans to probe Earth further. The message was clear: humanity's silence was deliberate, and their transformation, whatever form it had taken, was not to be disrupted. But despite the warnings, the effects of Earth's energy could not be ignored. Strange phenomena began to manifest across the galaxy. On planets once barren, vegetation began to sprout. On worlds plagued by conflict, peace settled inexplicably, as if the pulse had dulled the aggressive instincts of those who lived there. Machines that had been dormant for centuries roared to life, seemingly in response to the pulse's frequency. The galaxy was changing not violently, but subtly, irreversibly. Some species embraced the changes, seeing them as a gift or a guiding hand from humanity. Others, especially those with a history of rivalry with humans, viewed the pulse as a threat, a final act of domination from a species that had once defied every expectation. The council was paralyzed, unable to act but unwilling to ignore the transformation spreading before their eyes. The key to the mystery came unexpectedly. Deep within the archives of the council, a researcher uncovered a long-forgotten document, a fragment of a human scientific journal from centuries ago. The document spoke of an ambitious project, one humanity had begun in secret. It was called the Singularity Nexus. The Nexus, as described in the journal, was a bold attempt to unite humanity on a level never before achieved. It theorized that if every human mind could be connected through a vast, neural network powered by quantum energy, humanity could transcend its physical limitations. They would no longer be bound by individual bodies, limited lifespans, or the constraints of space and time. Instead, they would exist as a collective consciousness woven together into a singular, immortal entity. The journal did not detail whether the project had succeeded, but the implications were clear. The energy pulses emanating from Earth, the synchronized biological rhythms, the symbol of endurance, all of it pointed to the possibility that humanity had completed the nexus. They had become something more than a species. They had become an idea, a force that could reshape the galaxy itself. This revelation sent shockwaves through the council. If humanity had truly ascended to this state, it explained their disappearance and their silence. They had not left the galaxy, they had become the galaxy, integrating themselves into the very fabric of existence. The pulse was not a weapon or a warning. It was an invitation, a quiet call for others to join them, to transcend as they had. But the invitation came with a choice. To embrace the pulse would mean abandoning individuality, merging into something greater but unknown. To reject it was to remain as they were, bound by the limits of their own existence. The council debated endlessly, torn between fear of losing themselves and the allure of something far greater. As the pulse grew stronger, species across the galaxy began to respond. Some embraced the changes, willingly allowing the pulse to integrate with their worlds. Others fortified their defenses, trying in vain to block the waves of energy sweeping through the stars. And in the midst of it all, Earth remained silent, its mysteries hidden beneath its pristine surface. The galaxy stood on the edge of transformation, and no one knew what the future would hold. Humanity's silence was not an absence, but a choice to evolve beyond the comprehension of those who had once been their peers. And as the pulse continued its steady rhythm, reshaping the stars one ripple at a time, one thing was certain: no council, no species, and no world would ever forget the moment Earth went silent. Thank you for joining Starlight Sci-Fi on this thrilling journey. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars because they might just be watching us back.